A working day at the crocodile farm starts at dawn when the morning mist is still covering the artificial lake. Workers are present to check the cages, observe the health of the crocodiles and clean up the living environment to ensure cleanliness and avoid pathogens. Next, they prepare food including trash fish, discarded chickens and ducks or meat from other sources, chopped into bite-sized pieces and distributed evenly to each breeding area. The sound of strong bites echoes repeatedly as the crocodiles rush to fight for prey, demonstrating their wild hunting instincts. After feeding, the manager will record the amount of food consumed, growth rate and abnormal signs for monitoring. At the same time, the crocodiles are classified according to size and age. The young ones will be raised separately in an area with suitable temperature and light, while the adult crocodiles are released into a larger lake for exercise. At noon, the workers repair the cages, check the water system, and add medicine to prevent disease. Disease or bathing the crocodiles to remove parasites. In the afternoon, the most important job is to select the crocodiles that have met the standard size and weight to bring to the processing area. This stage is strictly carried out in the hygiene-controlled slaughter area. The crocodiles are anesthetized before processing to minimize pain. Then proceed to bleed, skin, separate the meat. The skin is treated with a preservative solution and transferred to the tannery where it will be turned into raw materials for the high-end fashion industry such as handbags, shoes, belts, and the meat is classified into fresh meat, frozen meat or processed into value-added products such as sausages, dried crocodile, canned food. The organs are cleaned to sell to restaurants or used as medicine in traditional medicine. Crocodile fat is melted into oil to produce cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. The bones and heads can be ground into powder to supplement calcium for livestock. Everything is almost fully utilized without waste. At the end of the day when the sun sets, the workers return to the breeding area to final check, ensuring the remaining crocodiles in the lake are healthy. The water is clean and safe. The work ends in fatigue but also full of pride because they have participated in a closed production chain from breeding to processing, creating high economic value and bringing unique products from this fierce but potential animal after completing the production stages. The team of technicians continues to record in detail the number of crocodiles sold, the volume of meat, skin, fat collected along with the quality status of each batch of products to serve the warehouse management process and traceability. These data will be entered into the software system to help the farm owner effectively control business operations as well as predict output for the next periods. In the food processing area, crocodile meat is stored in cold storage with stable temperature to maintain freshness. Some parts of the meat are sent directly to restaurants specializing in serving specialties of the day to make high-class dishes such as crocodile hot pot. Grilled crocodile meat, crocodile bone soup, while other parts are vacuum-packed or frozen for long-distance transportation. While in the tannery, workers continue to clean, chemically treat and dry crocodile skin in a strict process lasting many days to create soft, shiny skin, beautiful, ready to export to major markets such as Europe or Asia. In the evening when the hard work has gradually ended, a group of night shift workers still stay to monitor the water system, check security and prevent theft because crocodiles and their products have high economic value. This caution ensures that the farm always operates safely. Outside the office area, the management board holds a short meeting to summarize the situation of the day. Evaluate productivity. Discuss measures to improve farming techniques and discuss product consumption strategies in the coming time. The yellow light from the warehouse and office highlights the diligence of people who are attached to the profession. They work not only to make a profit but also to maintain a sustainable closed production chain. Contributing to providing food, raw materials and creating jobs for many workers. A day ends in fatigue but still shines with faith in tomorrow. When the work cycle starts again early with familiar but different activities less challenging in this harsh crocodile farm at night. The farm space becomes quieter but not completely silent, because the sounds from the crocodiles in the lake still echo through each splash. Tail or characteristic growl. The night shift workers move slowly around the barn, carrying flashlights and notebooks to observe. Sometimes they encounter a few crocodiles floating to the surface of the water just to breathe or observe the surrounding environment. This monitoring is simple but extremely important because crocodiles are easily stressed if the environment changes suddenly. The management board has installed an additional infrared camera system and heat sensor to support, ensuring timely detection when there is any incident such as damaged fences, crocodiles escaping or polluted water sources. In the processing area, the cold room still operates all night, keeping tons of crocodile meat in the best preservation state, while the tannery still has some workers working overtime, because the leather processing process requires continuous time, cannot be stopped halfway if you want to achieve quality high. The wet skins are soaked in preservative solution, meticulously checked for every pore and scratch before being put into the drying stage. Every small detail affects the commercial value later. While in the office area, the market staff are still diligently communicating with partners, sending emails, signing contracts to meet the delivery schedule. Production activities not only take place within the farm but also connect with the large supply chain outside. From logistics companies to supermarket chains, restaurants and international customers. At midnight, when most of the workers have rested, only a few night guards remain quietly patrolling under the moonlight reflecting on the lake surface. Their patience and sense of responsibility are an indispensable part to ensure the crocodile farm operates continuously, safely and sustainably. A cycle of labor is repeated day after day, both harsh and challenging, but also filled with hope for the development of a unique industry that brings income and business value. Big economy near dawn. The eastern sky began to turn pink, signaling the coming of a new day. The air in the farm moved slightly again. The night shift workers handed over the situation to the morning shift, carefully taking note of every detail such as the amount of crocodiles eaten, the number of crocodiles showing signs of fatigue or injury, the water condition in the pond and the operating equipment. The veterinary team also arrived early to prepare for the regular health check. They observed the appearance, weighed and recorded the growth rate of each group of crocodiles. Those found to have injuries or signs of illness would be separated, disinfected and cared for in a special area. This work required courage and dexterity because crocodiles are ferocious creatures. Even a small mistake could lead to danger, but with experience and patience, the staff still completed the task. When the sun was high, the bustling sounds began to resound throughout the farm. The food trucks continued to come in to supply ingredients, The workers prepared fresh meat. Fish and chickens are divided equally among each farming area. The feeding scene is repeated with the fierceness and strength inherent in crocodiles. While in the processing area, a batch of frozen meat and skin is completed, ready to be loaded onto a container truck to be taken to the export port. Cosmetic and food products from crocodiles are also classified to be shipped to domestic stores. All activities take place rhythmically like a giant machine, where everyone contributes a part of their efforts, whether they are feeding staff, processing workers, tanners or office workers, all creating a continuous cycle, from breeding to production and then consumption, thanks to which the value of the crocodile farm does not stop at specific products but also expands into a connected economic chain. The new day has just begun, but it also means a new production cycle starts again. Continuing endlessly to maintain and develop this special industry, the morning sunlight shines down on the lake, highlighting that the scales glisten on the backs of the crocodiles as they begin to crawl out of the water to sunbathe. Workers take the opportunity to observe this behavior because it is part of an important biological habit that helps crocodiles regulate their body temperature. If any crocodiles rarely come ashore or appear lethargic, they will be noted for health monitoring. At the same time, the environmental sanitation team conducts sludge pumping, water filtration and partial replacement of the water source to keep the lake clean, reducing the risk of bacteria accumulation. This entire process is strictly controlled so as not to affect the temperature balance in the lake. In the processing area, the aroma of experimental grilled meat emanates from the test kitchen, where professional chefs are preparing new dishes from crocodile meat to create a signature product for the farm's brand. They try different recipes such as smoked sausages, stir-fried crocodile meat with vegetables or flavorful soups to later offer in supermarkets or high-end restaurants. At the same time, the marketing team takes photos and videos to introduce the products for promotion on the domestic and foreign markets. While at the tannery, the processed leathers are put into the dyeing and polishing stage. The craftsmen take care of each grain to achieve perfection. Then they are packed in special anti-mold packaging for export. Near noon, the container truck rolls out of the farm gate, carrying the labor results of hundreds of people, heading to major seaports or commercial centers. Inside the farm, the workers after stressful working hours take a break, eat a simple lunch right in the canteen, chat about life, family or the next crop plan. Amidst the harshness of work with ferocious animals, there is still human warmth. Connection and belief that today's efforts will bring great results tomorrow. The afternoon at the crocodile farm is usually the time for more intensive work. When the sun is at its zenith and the temperature is high, the crocodiles become less active. They lie still on the shore or dive into the lake to keep cool. This is also the time when the technical team takes the opportunity to check the cage system, reinforce the steel fences, check the doors and protective nets to ensure absolute safety. Because just a small gap can lead to the crocodile escaping, endangering people, some other employees check the pump system, water pipes and ventilation fans to ensure the environment is always stable. The processing area in the afternoon becomes bustling again when new batches of products are put into classification. Fresh meat is weighed, labeled and divided into many different specifications to serve each group of customers. From high-end restaurants and hotels to retail supermarkets, the most beautiful skins are selected to move to the sophisticated processing line. where the leather artisans use their long-standing skills to creating soft, shiny and evenly colored leather products, preparing to export to major fashion brands. At the same time, the research room also conducts quality testing of crocodile oil, testing the purity for use in cosmetics and pharmaceutical production. In the farmyard, small trucks continuously come in and out, carrying food, raw materials, products and supplies, creating a bustling atmosphere like a closed industrial factory. Near the end of the afternoon, workers once again feed the crocodiles a snack to replenish their energy. The scene of hundreds of crocodiles fighting for prey under the murky water reappears, as strong and fierce as in the morning, closing a familiar but no less tense cycle of life. When the sunset falls, the farm begins to prepare for a new night shift. The cycle of work continues without stopping, turning this place into a disciplined and efficient production ecosystem, where humans and ferocious animals coexist in a relationship that is both harsh and full of economics. When the sunset gradually fades and the night returns covering the farm, the electric lights are turned on throughout the rows of cages and processing areas, signaling the change of shifts of a never-ending workday. The night team begins their familiar work by checking the entire security system, testing the alarm, checking the steel fences and observing on the surveillance camera screen, making sure there are no gaps for crocodiles to escape or bad guys to enter. In the breeding pond, the crocodiles quietly float their heads to the surface of the water, their bright eyes reflecting under the lights, creating a scene that is both mysterious and somewhat creepy. The patrolling staff must be extremely focused, because even though they are familiar with this animal, they still understand that just 1 minute of carelessness can cause serious consequences. In the processing area, some production lines are still operating to meet the urgent export order schedule. Workers in protective gear continue to pack frozen meat. Check the cold storage and neatly arrange pallets of goods. While in the tannery, craftsmen meticulously monitor the drying process and dyeing, because crocodile skin needs to be continuously processed to maintain its quality. Every step must be precise to every detail. The laboratory in the farm is also lit up, where technicians test new product samples from crocodile fat and bone, find unique cosmetic formulas, ointments or functional foods to increase the value of the product chain. In the office, the management board works later than usual to have online meetings with foreign partners, discuss prices, shipping schedules and market expansion strategies. Outside, the cool night breeze blows across the lake, carrying the characteristic smell of mud and steam, making the space seem to calm down after a stressful day. But in fact, the work cycle has never stopped, because it is this closed rhythm that has turned the crocodile farm into a continuously operating economic machine. Nurturing the dreams. Sweat and efforts of hundreds of people here. The night gradually turned late. The vast sky was dotted with a few stars. While the outside of the farm was quiet, the inside was still bustling with its own cycle. In the breeding area, patrolling staff walked along the lake shore, carefully shining flashlights to make sure no crocodiles were injured, trapped or had unusual behavior. The notebooks were getting thicker and thicker with a series of data, from water temperature, pH to food consumption. All were updated to the central computer system for easy long-term monitoring. In the processing area, the sound of packaging machines still echoed evenly. The cold air from the freezer was faint. Each box of crocodile meat was labeled with a barcode, ready to be loaded onto a refrigerated container to be delivered to the port the next morning. And in the tannery, a group of workers were still meticulously wiping each piece of skin, checking for tiny scratches under the white light. They understood that even a small mistake could reduce the value by thousands of dollars. so each step was carried out with patience and high concentration. In the research lab, several engineers were still experimenting with extracting pure crocodile oil, analyzing its ingredients in a modern laboratory, hoping to create new products that could compete in the international market. While the sales department was still communicating online with customers from different time zones, negotiating large contracts that could bring in huge profits. Outside the office area, the yellow light fell on the paved walkway, reflecting on the rippling lake where a few crocodiles were moving slightly. That half-still, half-moving scene highlighted the parallel between wild nature and human hands. Near dawn, when the night shift was about to hand over, everything in the farm was still running smoothly. The closed chain of activities never stopped, like the heartbeat of a giant body, nurturing the existence and development of an entire special economic sector, where humans and ferocious animals were bound together in a relationship that was both dangerous and valuable. When the first light of dawn glimmered on the horizon, the crocodile farm gradually entered a new day, but the work cycle was almost uninterrupted. The night shift handed over to the morning shift detailed notes on the status of the crocodiles, the security system, the amount of food reserves and the products completed during the night. The engineers quickly checked the electricity, water, and cold storage to make sure everything was still running smoothly. Inside the pond, the crocodiles began to emerge from the water, their sharp eyes reflecting the pink light of dawn. The workers took the opportunity to observe to assess their health, and at the same time prepared breakfast for them with boxes of fresh fish. Chickens and ducks distributed regularly. The bustling scene repeated with the loud sound of bait catching. In the processing area, some morning shift employees took over the packaging line, checking all the frozen meat containers ready to leave the warehouse. The container trucks covered in night dew were waiting outside the gate. Just needing a signal to roll out to the port. At the tannery, the craftsmen continued the drying and processing of the unfinished leather from last night, carefully measuring the humidity, controlling the room temperature to keep the skin in perfect quality. Meanwhile, the research room started a new series of tests, from testing the nutrition in the meat to developing pharmaceutical products from crocodile fat, creating a new direction for the farm. The office area also gradually lit up, where the management board had a quick meeting to assign tasks, report on production and plan for upcoming orders. The chain of activities followed one another like a non-stop machine. From crocodile care, slaughter, processing, preservation, research to commercialization, all were repeated with a regular rhythm, creating sustainability for the whole farm. And as the sun gradually rose, the noise of work filled the space, marking a new circle in the series of hard days associated with this ferocious animal that also brought huge economic value when the sun had risen. The sunlight spread across the rows of cages and the large lake. The atmosphere in the crocodile farm became more vibrant than ever. After feeding, the workers started to do different tasks. One group checked the wastewater treatment system, ensuring that the water in the lake was always clean, odorless and did not stress the crocodiles. Another group checked the food reserve, calculated the remaining quantity and contacted the supplier to order more, because the amount of food consumed each day was a huge number that needed to be strictly managed. In the slaughterhouse, technicians began to select more crocodiles that met the weight standards. The slaughtering process continued to take place strictly with full food safety and hygiene regulations. Each part of meat, skin, fat, and bones were classified on the spot to be transferred to specialized departments. In the food processing factory, modern production lines began to operate, mass-producing products such as crocodile sausages, canned meat, and dried meat, and frozen minced meat. The quality control team closely monitors each batch before packaging. To ensure that the products meet export standards. At the same time, in the tannery, the dyeing and polishing of the leather is entering the final stage. Each smooth, shiny leather is carefully hung for final inspection before sealing and packing. In the office area, the International Trade Department works continuously with partners in many countries, negotiating new contracts, especially large orders from luxury fashion brands and high-end restaurant chains. The bustling atmosphere makes the farm no different from a miniature industrial city, where from morning to late at night, every step is closed and closely connected, all with the aim of maximizing the economic value of crocodiles, turning them from ferocious wild creatures into a resource that brings huge profits and stable jobs for hundreds of people attached to this place. At noon, when the hot sun covers the entire area on the farm, both human and crocodile activities slowed down a bit. The crocodiles mostly lay motionless on the shore or submerged deep in the water to keep cool, only occasionally making strong tail-wagging sounds that rippled the lake surface. This was the time when the workers took turns to rest, have lunch and recuperate.